Hi everyone, welcome to Fat to Thin Senior RNY. I'm Raven. I'm 76 years old and I have had gastric bypass surgery on December 16th, 2019. Medicaid approved the surgery. Last week I talked about self-sabotage and the binge I was almost on. In this vlog, I'll be talking about my journey so far and how I got to where I am now. If you're curious, please join me on this journey and continue to watch, and please comment. Last week I talked about the self-sabotage and the binge I was almost on. How the binge started, the lockdown. I talked about the cravings and stuff like that. Still got cravings, but that's okay. At the start of this journey, I felt fat. I really felt fat. I mean, everything felt fat. I mean, my face felt fat. Everything felt fat. Hands, everything. I'm still fat. I mean, I still got 75 pounds to go. I'm still fat. But I don't feel fat like I did before, where I felt every little, if my thighs touched something, I thought about the fat. If I was just a little, it wouldn't bother me so much and that kind of stuff. But I thought about being fat and all the time. I was aware of it all the time. I was disgusted with the fat and with myself for being fat. I called myself all kinds of names and I berated myself every time I put something in my mouth. Today, I mean, I'm still fat. I enjoy the loose skin. I enjoy feeling the skin hanging down. I mean, even here, I'm just loving it, I mean, look at how much of this has to come off. I got twice as much hanging down as the bones in my body. Eventually it'll come off. At any rate, I'm enjoying seeing it. Instead of it being like this and all of it just full of fat, Anyway, I like feeling the bones, I hated to look in the mirror. In fact, I didn't own a full-length mirror. I hated, I mean, when I looked in the mirror, even, even the shorter ones, when I looked in the mirror, I was looking at how the clothes fit on my body, that kind of thing. I wasn't really looking at me. I didn't look at me. I looked at the clothing. See how they were hanging and that kind of stuff. I hated it. I mean, it was terrible. It's terrible to feel self-deprecating like that. To tear yourself down like that all the time, every day, and still put stuff in your face. You know what I mean? Anyway, when I was approved for surgery. When I got approved for surgery, I went out and I bought a full-length mirror. And I put it in my bathroom behind the toilet because that's the only bare wall I had left. And the thing about it is, if I leave the bathroom door open, stand in the hallway, I can see my entire body from head to foot. And I've got a light directly overhead so that I could see from head to foot, no problems. And today, I mean, meaning now, I enjoy going, when I go to the bathroom, seeing how my body is thinning out, how the bump on my ass can't hold a teacup anymore, how my belly isn't sticking out in front of my tits, you know what I mean? It's terrific, actually. So I'm enjoying looking at my body getting thinner. I wish it would go a little bit faster, but it isn't. Anyway, sometime in August or September, I started this journey. I can't seem to find the paperwork or anything that tells me exactly when I started this. I do remember I saw a 2-minute news video that came up, and it was talking about senior citizens who can now get gastric bypass surgery, whereas the cutoff age before was 60, and I didn't start looking for it until I was 65. So I figured, okay, I'm out. So I happened to see this video. It just popped up. I mean, I wasn't looking for weight loss videos. I wasn't looking at anything about food or anything. It was just a random video that popped up and said, you can have this. And I said, what? And I did. It just popped up on YouTube. It got to the point that after I saw that video, that getting the surgery was all I could think about. I was excited. I mean, I could have this. I just needed to make sure that I could have this, right? So I searched Medicaid website and found out for sure they pay for it. I got really excited, figured out, now how am I going to get this done, I searched the nearby hospitals and doctors and found one that I really liked and was okay as far as my HMO was concerned. So then I went crazy looking at weight loss videos. I must have watched hundreds of them. I mean, I watched videos all day long, every day, for weeks. I mean, into, 6 o'clock in the morning to 11, 12 o'clock at night. I was watching videos, so, and one right after the other. And I was hooked, hundreds of them easily, There were doctors. My doctors are part of an HMO that I have to deal with, how HMO, I don't know if you know. Well, the people in America, the United States of America, know what HMOs are. They are health and medical organizations that you have to stick with their doctors. You have to be approved for just about everything, including medications. I mean, I was turned down by the HMO for potassium, even though I went to the hospital and had to have potassium pumped into me. They would not give me the pills. Got me. I have no idea why. At any rate, and obviously I needed them if I had to stay overnight in the hospital for potassium, but that's what HMOs are like. I have a feeling that in countries that have universal health care, that is probably similar. You got to go through this step and then that step and then the next step, to get something done. And all of it is a fight the whole way. At any rate, so I asked my doctor my primary doctor for a referral to the clinic that I chose. At that particular point in time, I really wasn't happy with my doctor, but I wanted the surgery. So I stayed with her. And so she put in for the HMO because she has a habit of doing whatever the patient wants, It's not really using her knowledge that I can tell. Let me tell you a story about this doctor. I had been taking 𝘁𝗿𝗄𝗏 for migraine headaches. And I've been taking migraine medication off and on easily 25, 30 years. And with 𝘁𝗿𝗏, I've always had like this burning in my fingertips and this roughness in my throat, Well, the last time I took it, I really felt like my throat was closing up. It was really closing up. My fingers, my hands, my feet, everything was burning like I had stuck my hand in fire, And of course, taking the medication, I spent 3 days, it got rid of the migraine, but I spent 3 days in bed afterwards because I was sick as a dog from that stuff. So anyway, I went to her and I said, look, the last time I took this medication, I felt like my throat was going to close up. I don't want to take this anymore. There's got to be something else out here, newer by now, you know, or something else, anything else. Well, she asked me, well, what drug do you want to take? And why don't you take the 𝘁𝗿𝗄𝗏𝘁 one more time and see how it goes? I wanted to know if she was insane. I mean, why would I take another pill to find out if my throat is going to close up or not? You know, anyway, so I stayed with her so that she could fill out all of the papers and that kind of stuff. And as soon as I was approved and everything else by the HMO, I changed doctors. At any rate, so I hate to tell you, say it, but I used her, right, to get what I wanted, which was this surgery. So anyway, so they approved it, and so I had to go 4 months of stuff to be totally approved for the surgery. I had to go through 4, what was it? It wasn't, yeah, 4 visits with the dietitian over a period of 4 months, and one per month. And I had to go for 1 session with the psychiatrist. Not one of those 5 sessions lasted more than 15-20 minutes. It took me an hour and a half to get there and an hour and a half to get back. And every one of them thought, you know what you're doing, you know what you're talking about, so we don't have nothing to teach you. And that was that. But so I went, I mean, you know, got my questions asked if I had any, and that kind of thing. From there, I got to finally meet the surgeon. And I could see why they would do it that way. I mean, because from what I understand, a lot of people back out. They get to the last second and they back out of the surgery, and that's an incredible waste of time for a doctor when the rest of the stuff, this meeting of the dietitian and the psychiatrists, are just minor people in the scheme of things as far as the surgery goes, you know. So, you know, their time is expendable. I mean, I enjoyed them, and they were useful and all of that kind of good stuff. But in the scheme of things, anyhow, so I met him. He's a really cool guy. He really was. He was really cool then, and I met him a couple of times since, and I still think he's a cool dude. And that's the way it is. So anyway, after I met him, it was a month later that I had the surgery. And the funny thing was, is it wasn't until after I had the surgery that I found out that I was going along, you know, thinking, okay, I'm finished this step, and then everything is okay, and I'm going to go get the surgery, and then that's that. When in actuality, I had to fulfill all of those steps before the insurance company actually said, yes, we will pay for it, or we will, however they work with Medicaid to pay for it. I just assumed it was going to be done. So it got done. You know, and that's the way it goes. And I want you to know, you know, today, this is 4 months later, 6 months later, I still have cravings. I think I still am hungry. I still get somewhere around 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 3 o'clock, you know, 7, 8 o'clock at night. I want something to eat. My stomach is growling. It's doing its thing. And that's okay, because I can't eat more than 3 ounces at a time. Now, the sad thing about that is I can only eat 3 ounces at a time, almost 3 ounces an hour. Yesterday, I ate 1,200 calories. Now, up until this point, since the week before I had surgery, I have not gone over 500 calories. Yesterday, I ate 1,200 every hour I was eating something or drinking something. I realized too that I have got to pull out my phone again and start timing myself, because I went and I ate that stuff too fast, way too fast. Believe it or not, the operation is not a safety net. It's only a tool to tell you what you should be doing, kind of notify you, and that's it. I mean, I drank and ate something every single hour. I think that because I've been recording what I eat on sparkpeople.com, so I know exactly what I'm eating and how much of it I'm eating and when and where. I've actually been weighing stuff, and I still measure stuff out, even though I was eating every hour. Okay, I think it was out of boredom. My mom used to say, if you're bored, then you're boring. Okay, so I needed to get unboring. So I ate something, which is not a good deal, considering where I'm coming from. You know, I'm trying to get this weight off of my body. So what are you doing so that you're not sleeping and eating all day long? I mean, I'm napped out, you know. so, so I finally washed all my dishes, and I had bought a chunk of three or 4 pounds of ground beef. I'm not even sure how much it was, because here in the park that I'm living they are on Tuesdays, they buy from the wholesale restaurant suppliers, and they resell to the people who live here in the park at cost or just above cost. So they had this huge piece of ground beef that they cut in half and stuck it in big plastic bags, and so you got a chunk of meat, and it was frozen solid. Really solid. So I had to wait 2 days in the fridge for it to thaw out and all that kind of stuff. So then I end up with all this ground beef. Now I can only eat 3 ounces of anything at one time. So I cooked it all up. I cooked it up, one great big pot of ground meat with onions and garlic and whole deal, right, and spices, whatever. And I made 3 different dishes with it. I made some chili with a third, and I made, what the heck else did I make? Oh, spaghetti sauce. And I just left the ground beef as it is to be mixed with whatever else. And then I packaged them up in 6-ounce bags so that I could have 2 meals out of each one. I'm thinking, since they were meat, I should have packaged them in smaller packages, but didn't think about that. I was just thinking 3 ounces, you know, is all I can eat. So, you know, so I'm still sabotaging myself here and there, you know, but I'll get it together sooner or later. The thing is, I had to take the bag of sugar-free ice pops out of the freezer because I didn't have any more room to put that ground beef packages that I had made up into the freezer. So I finally got it in there, and I got the door closed, which is amazing, you know. But at the same time that I bought that ground beef, I also bought a pork loin, and I have no idea why I did that. I mean, there's this pork loin, one great big piece. Well, I'm thinking I'll have to cook it in the Instant Pot, but I don't have any freezer space. You know, I have to get into that freezer. I think I need to clean out my freezer and see what's in there, maybe rearrange things, maybe somehow or other I can get this thing in there. It's probably 3-4 pounds easily. I'm thinking maybe I could make it into pulled pork, but that's 3 or 4 pounds of pulled pork. So I'm thinking, well, it's thawed out, so maybe I can slice some of it, and we'll see. Get around to that. At any rate, I did do laundry. I've got a little teeny itty bitty washing machine. I'll put the picture here. And to tell you the truth, I feel better doing my own laundry as opposed to going to a public laundromat. I mean, you got to touch the doorknob, you got to touch the machines, you got to touch money, you got to, you know, I'm trying to stay away, you know, quarantine. I don't know, you know, I vacuumed the floors. I washed the kitchen floor. My kitchen floor is a total of 2.5 feet by 6 feet. It was a lot of work, you know. There's nothing left to do unless I go crazy and start washing down all the wood in here, you know, or something else. Got suggestions for something for me to do? I mean, I playing the guitar, but I can't do it more than about 15 minutes before my fingertips decide that they've had enough, you know. But so anyhow, so some suggestions would be really, really, really helpful, you know. Thank you. And now, as for Rowley is doing okay. As I said, I think he's really happy. His butt wiggles, you know. He had a fever at the beginning of this week. He had a fever. It lasted him maybe 2 days, day and a half. And he had some really loose stools. They weren't quite diarrhea, but they were getting there. And I think it's because of the dog food. Now, I've checked on a bunch of different dog websites, and they say that it's probably the dog food, and then should be consistent with the type of food and all that kind of stuff. Otherwise, they get stomach upsets. Well, I can't get consistent with the same types of food. I ordered canned food, I ordered dry food, and I got canned food and I got dry food, but it wasn't what I ordered, and none of them are the same brand or even the same type. So he's got like 4 or 5 different flavors, companies, types of food. So I've been trying to give him a little bit of each one so his body can kind of get used to it, but I don't know if I'm making him worse, you know. Should I just give him the one kind, let it get run out, and then try another one and let him go through the diarrhea and that kind of stuff again, or what? You know, if you know anything like that about dogs, let me know, please, because I'm lost at this point. His stools, he doesn't have a fever, but his stools are still loose. But even so, even when he had the fever, he still wanted to chase his squeaky ball. He wanted to play. Okay, so that's the reason I figured, well, he's not as sick as the stools imply. Otherwise, he wouldn't be out here trying to grab that ball and chase that ball all over the house, you know. So, to sum up, to get to the end of this, I'm feeling good. I'm catching my sabotages, usually afterwards, and maybe one of these days I'll start catching my sabotages as I'm trying to sabotage myself. You know, that would be an improvement. But I'm catching them, okay? I still don't have any regrets about the surgery, and in fact, I still think it was one of the better things I've done in my life. And I'm still hanging around 3 ounces a meal, except for yesterday, when I ate probably 1 ounce every hour. Way too much, you know. And I think that's the reason I woke up with a headache today. But I'm still learning to eat well and good food. And I still need to remind myself that 6 months isn't long enough to undo the crap I did to my body over 50 years. It's going to take a while. And even if I only lose 1 pound a month, I lost 1.8 pounds this week, I am still happy because it is going down. Okay, the weight is going down. The fat is sagging a lot. And I'm loving it. Man. Seriously loving it. Terrible elbows. That's from sitting on your elbows for years in an office. Anyway, so I'm still catching me. I'm still catching the sabotages. I'm still learning who I am and what I like, because Lord knows I don't know. So start now. That's what I need to tell you, to start now, because 76 is kind of late to start living. And I'm sure that all of you out there are younger than me. So you need to get your shit together and start living, okay? So please like, share, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. And don't forget to click show more in the descriptions below. I put a thing in the description on how to make, what do you call those? Plastic gloves. They're gloves out of Walmart shopping bags or whatever your local grocery is. They're not waterproof, but they will keep your hands clean. You could do things like go to the pickup and hold the thing and press your buttons, you know, without worrying about your hands touching anything. And if you're like me, you got a couple of 100 bags sitting in the house that you've been meaning to take back forever. Actually, when I go to the dog park, I use a Walmart shopping bag, and I hold it on the outside where the print is, so I know that it's outside. And when I get there, I push it down and use the inside of the bag to open the gate and to pick up the lid on the garbage can and things like that. And then when I get ready to go out, you know, I close the gate again, and then just kind of push the bag closed, tie it up, throw it away. Don't have to even take it in the house. But the little gloves, if you're into making gloves, which I think are kind of cute, the instructions are in the show more descriptions below. Okay, info on free audiobooks and cheap audiobooks as well as in there, and as well as a donatable face mask for hospitals, subway workers, garbage people, you know, all those people who need the, you know, bus drivers, whoever needs these. So if you make them, you know, and hand them out, whatever, you would be helping somebody somewhere, okay? So take care of yourself, stay safe, blessed be, okay?